VoyMonk vlog number 51. And this is actually going to be take 2 because when I recorded this before, I don't know exactly what happened, but I don't know if maybe I hit the wrong button or something. But anyways, I basically wanted to do this 51st voice vlog, talking about pretty much the beginnings of social media and my experience with it. I want to say that I pretty much started all the way back in 97. Not the very beginning of the internet completely. I think that was more like 94, 95-ish, thereabouts. But about 97. And of course, my experience with online communities, for the most part, is pretty much been in the way of anything from gaming communities to online social communities. And some of the very first that I remember, I don't remember AOL too much. I do remember Instant Messenger quite a bit. I used that in mostly my work life. And then, of course, there was Yahoo Chats for anyone that remembers the wild, wild west of the internet. And then pretty much going into the early 2000s, for the most part, was pretty much that was about it. And then, of course, it eventually morphed into what was the precursor to Facebook and Twitter and a lot of things that would come later, which was MySpace. And I remembered that being around 2004, 2005-ish, when I was going to school, and I didn't really understand the whole function behind it, but a lot of the things that we know today in terms of trends and human behavior pretty much was a foreshadow then. I mentioned it before that, like with talk radio and now with podcasting and a lot of things, for the most part, as much as things change, they actually remain the same. And I would say the only real difference between podcasting and AM radio, for the most part, was the fact that most AM radio had screened, albeit, but they were call-in shows where people could ask questions or, interact with guests and all that kind of thing, which I don't know. I don't really see too much of that happening with podcasts. It seems like podcasts are a little bit more centric around the host and sometimes, of course, guests, but not really the inclusion of audience. And I know some people kind of pretty much look at most of what has come either then or till now, sometimes negatively, sometimes positively, usually very negatively. A lot of criticism, I would say. But for me, I guess for the most part at this point in my life, a lot of what I didn't know then and I eventually became to know over time until now is mostly that, more things change, the more they kind of really do stay the same. People cluster, people definitely are drawn to the things that are of interest, and around that is what eventually becomes a community. And I don't know that that's necessarily a good or bad thing. I just think there are also different kinds of communities. And so for me, I think it also kind of rolls back to the motives. And to be real honest, since about 97 all the way into the 2000, 2005, and then 2010s, I've seen for the most part the things that are very similar and the things that are always kind of the same, very much exactly what I've come to expect. Whether it's MySpace to Facebook, or Facebook to Twitter, or Twitter to, I don't know, I'm sure there's a lot in between. Of course, YouTube, and then live video, and lots of other communities that have formed, that have come and they've gone from Vine, which was, I think, quite a bit like TikTok. And the reason I thought about these things today is because with the thing that's going on with TikTok, I think there's a lot of buzz about what's coming next and what's going to be going on in the future. And so, believe it or not, I'll probably do a video voiceover to kind of go more in depth in that kind of thing. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what's on my mind. This is kind of a quick vlog or whatever, but yeah, I honestly gotta say that I think going forward, the only thing that will really probably happen is that everything that has come beforehand will make its way more on a global scale, and people, for the most part, will find where they fit in. And I think the manifestation or the progression of community will most likely be even bigger than it has ever been before. It's just going to take on a different look than maybe some of the hopes, maybe some of the expectations, and maybe some of the ways that some people think it ought to be. But yeah, that's going to do it for this vlog. Until next time, take care.